I'd like to end the course with an easier project. Your most difficult projects are behind you. I usually begin the course with some difficult things, and at the end I like to lighten it up. I know that you have tests and other courses that you're probably focusing on right now. So this is a fairly easy assignment, and it's going to harken back to the analysis that you've already done. It's just a slightly different take since we will be looking at visual rhetoric. So your charge was to find something that you could share that was an example of effective or particularly ineffective, which is sometimes amusing to focus on, visual rhetoric. So that can be a painting, that can be a advertisement, that could be a music video, that could be any number of things. We live in a visual medium world these days, so it takes many, many forms. Okay, so we harken back to purpose and technique. What is the artist trying to achieve? What is their purpose? Are they trying to sell you a product? Are they trying to entertain you? What are they trying to do? How is the artist trying to convey this purpose? And that'll be techniques. Now, naturally, what we saw for written rhetoric techniques will be quite different than for visual rhetoric. So some common purposes, again, to entertain, to persuade, to raise awareness, to confirm or refute opinions, to conduct businesses, selling you something, to evoke emotion, to incite action. And some of these may overlap naturally. So you'll probably find at least two purposes. So for this assignment, you'll be looking for two purposes. And then the artistic techniques. We'll be looking at focusing on two of the artistic techniques. That could be the color saturation. You may have something that's in black and white or goes from black and white and adds particular bits of color, or emphasis is on one color or on a color family or cool shading or bright neon colors or what have you. So really looking closely at the use of colors and how that affects your emotional response or furthers or hinders their purpose. The placement, that's really how something is framed. So you will see sometimes the camera angles are unique, where they are an omniscient perspective or a child's perspective, or they put things at the edge of the frame instead of the center of the frame. What are they trying to convey? What purpose are they trying to achieve through that placement? And the way that they pair people or group objects, that's something else that you can look at. And does those pairings and groupings, those placements, do they create a sense of balance? For example, when we think of Da Vinci's The Last Supper, it's pretty unlikely that Jesus and his disciples all sat on one side of the table. It's impractical and wouldn't really garner much fellowship. But for him, he was trying to create balance and focus. He was trying to make Jesus the focus of his painting and to balance him in between the groupings of people at the center of the table, in front of a window, with the lines of the ceiling all sort of pointing towards him. Those were artistic techniques, and his purpose was to highlight Jesus, and that made the most sense. So that's the way that you're looking at this with more of an artist's eye. Cultural symbolism, sometimes this is lost on us when we're looking at antiquated work and from a different time period where we're not familiar with the symbolism of that time. But there is a great deal of symbolism used in modern visual rhetoric that certainly you will recognize, and I think that would be one of the easier techniques to focus on. Of course, if they're using wording, and this can be a part of song lyrics, it can be the text that they put on the advertisement, the slogan, and where it is and what font it's in and how it's highlighted. So those are all things to consider in terms of artistic techniques. So ultimately you'll create a little chart. Naturally you'll have a lot more information on your chart. This is just to give you a visual of how I want it to look. You'll have your purposes, two techniques, and then an evaluation of the effectiveness. So you'll give me a little bit of an explanation as to why you think they were trying to entertain, why you think what they were trying to raise awareness of, and then an explanation of how each technique was employed, and a detailed evaluation of the effectiveness of those techniques. Did they achieve their purpose? That is the question. I hope that was helpful.